Hey everybody, welcome to Comics Covered, where I and typically Matt, the co-founders of CovrPrice.com, talk about cool things that happened in the week and what's going on with CovrPrice.com. This week, Matt is on vacation, so I'm bringing in some really fun people. These are all people that work over at CovrPrice. I'll bring them in one by one. First, we have Hannah. Hannah is our lead data integrity manager specialist extraordinaire. Hannah, what do you do at CovrPrice?
I lead the data integrity team, and we put in all of the missing books into the system. We monitor sales and trends. We take care of all the new releases. Every week, we manage our FOC list, which is what we're going to talk about tonight. So pretty much everything that goes on with what you see on the front end, we're behind the scenes, making sure it all looks good for our users.
And we always mention Hannah. So this is the Hannah, the infamous Hannah. Then we have, I'll bring in Bobby. Some of you guys know Bobby. He is our editor extraordinaire. He's the one who makes sure all the articles and all the emails and all the data. He writes a bunch of stuff. I told everybody what you do, Bobby.
Yeah, hi. Yeah. Whatever John says. And if it's, if it's good, it's on me, right? If it's bad, well then I can't take any blame for that.
Except that you're the editor of all of me. So it can't be bad. No, so that's Bobby. And of course, I don't know if you guys have met Jen. She's typically over at Nearing Nirvana, but she's been gracious enough to join us here. And she also works at CovrPrice. What do you do, Jen?
I'm on Hannah's team. She's what she said, ditto.
You do what Hannah tells you to do, and then Hannah does what I tell her to do. It's just a vicious cycle of everything. Thank you, everyone who's watching. Yeah, so this week we're going to do something kind of interesting. CovrPrice is launching a new product that's going to make FOCs available to you guys. Currently we launched the FOC article on about, I think, is it Sunday or Saturday, Bobby?
It's Sunday morning. I mean, if I get in early enough Saturday, but usually it's Sunday morning. It just goes out.
So Sunday morning, and then final order cutoff is Monday.
Yeah.
So it's about a day's worth of interesting stuff. And we call out the stuff that our partner Lefteros, who does an amazing job of finding that information. We kind of call out what he does. But we're about to launch a way for you guys to see a week in advance the FOCs that are coming out, so you can add them to your pull list, reach out to your retailers. But it dawned on me that, although people listening to this probably know what an FOC is, there's a lot of people collecting comics who don't know much about FOCs. And I'll be honest, when I first started CovrPrice, I had no idea what an FOC was. And I know you guys work intimately with it. And I thought we'd just kind of have a whole conversation around what it is and how to use them. Silence.
We don't want to step on each other's toes.
Yeah.
So, Jen actually also works for a retailer, so she has firsthand experience with dealing with FOC. I don't know, Jen, if you want to kind of give a brief rundown for people who might not know what exactly FOC or final order cutoff is.
So basically, there's two times when retailers put in orders. They have initials, and that's really far in advance. But what helps retailers more is FOC. So it's about a month before the books come out. Retailers put in their order for the books. There's a few moments at FOC that it'll say allocated or could be allocated. So you're like, oh, I could get shorted. But that's only every single time. But that's why, even as a collector, I didn't know about FOC for the longest time. I would just show up to my LCS on a Wednesday trying to hunt down the books I wanted. It's I didn't know that people know in advance. So it is, I feel like would you say the entry level reader, or even, I'm trying to think who would, at what point do you find out, in your learning experience and in your collecting or reading.
I always think that the people who go to comics start off as like readers or moviegoers, right? The people who are like reading it for the content and they just love it. Then that person eventually, if they start reading comics, they're reading like trade paperbacks, they're talking about it. They eventually go get a floppy and they're like, oh, this could be worth something. And then they become a collector. And so they're like, now they're bagging and boarding it and reading. And then all of a sudden when that person sees something in their collection go up to like $1,000 and they go, oh, I can sell it. They sell it and they're like, and they kind of become this like speculatory type person. And I think that's kind of where all of us are, is that kind of like, oh yeah, these are kind of worth something. And a lot of our listeners are probably there. And then you can even go further and be like a person who buys comics just to flip them and stuff like that. Or you can be a person who just a collector and never sells them. But I think the FOC part of it, I don't know. I mean, what do you guys think? I think like if you start becoming a collector or a speculator type person, you start worrying about like where you can get them for cheap before you sell them, you know? And I think that's kind of where FOC kind of fits into the thing, but maybe not.
True. I mean, because there's times that people are just readers looking to fulfill their run. And I think they take for granted. They're like, oh, it'll be at my LCS. No worries. And then they show up and they're like, what do you mean you don't have any? And it's like, well, you didn't pre-order it. Like
pre-order? I have to do something.
I think that's where it comes in handy. Like, because, you know, Wednesdays, it's kind of interesting when you're like, have you guys ever like been, I think Hannah, you said that you've gone to your shop a couple times and like you see the different people come in. Right? So like you were at your LCS. There's a story.
What are you seeing what different people come in?
That like you said that you were at your so sorry about like you're at your LCS and then like you're kind of like you get to see like because there's people who come in who I can't remember the story now.
I can imagine.
There are a lot of different types of people that come into my LCS. I don't know which story you're talking about.
Well, because there's people who like, you know, you come in, you get your books. They're they're already. Are people who like run in and who are like, hey, like, do you have this? And I don't know. I don't know about this. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, I think to Jen's point, like when I was in Houston, which is weird to say that now, the shop I would go to, Wednesday I'd go to the gym before the comic book store opened, and I'd run over there at 10, and there were people already like at 10, running to the new selection, pulling the 125s, 150s, and then looking through and pulling the books that they thought were going to be good spec books to buy. And then there's the ones that are just like waiting, like I know what I want. I've got my box full. I'm not gonna. The one thing I will say, FOC got me in trouble last year was because I was like, oh, I'm gonna pre-order this. I'll get this. I'll get that. I'll get that on Lefterous's suggestion, and we did our taxes. And my wife's like, how much did you spend? I'm like, what happened? What happened? Oh no.
I think the problem with working at CovrPrice is that we see all the covers, and whenever I go into my local comic shop, I'm like, I see it, I go, oh, I love that. Why do I love it? And I don't realize that it's only because there's nothing special about it. I've just seen it so often that I'm like, oh, I should buy that. And I just keep buying stuff that's not really important or anything, in that sense. And not even stories that I'm reading. I'm just like, oh, that's a cool cover. Everyone's talking about this cover.
Yeah. And we'll get into this later on, but like Lefteros does an amazing job with our FOC. The dude puts in the hours. I'm gonna give him his flowers now. That man puts in his hours. But twice on one book, I have ignored his suggestions. I ignored it at FOC, and I ignored them at New Comic Day. And last week, I saw that Wolverine at my shop, and he had a stack of them. And I was like, I don't need it. I don't need it. Blah, blah, blah. I get, like, day after Wednesday comes out, and boom, it's right. I'm like, oh, okay.
So what Bobby's referring to is this amazing FOC article that Lefteros puts together and Bobby edits and brings together. But Lefteros does a great job of actually reading the comics and actually calling out if it is the first full appearance. And that's why it takes a while. It's because he's got a full-time job and he does all this amazing work on the side and then does all the reading of it. But he does it so that you guys know, like, you don't have to read through everything. You can actually know what FOC is actually interesting, in terms of having like key information and stuff going on. And then each week we post this on Saturday/Sunday to get it out to you guys. But the issue, of course, is that doesn't give you guys a huge window. So what the team is working on, and we're planning on launching it this Wednesday, is you're going to be able to come to this article and click on a button that kind of looks like nothing. Kind of looks like like this. This is our, we have a retailer tool that we support retailers with, but it's going to basically show all the FOCs for that week in advance. And you're going to be able to find out everything about them and order them if you want, or add them to your wish list and go from there. So that's why we're kind of having this conversation, because this is about to launch probably Wednesday, Thursday morning of this week. And we'll have another show kind of walking through it. But I think it's really cool because you'll literally be able to see all the FOCs. And Hannah, how many FOCs do we typically have per week? You know?
Oh, I think it's
511.
put me on the spot here. Usually probably between like 300 to 400 books on average. You know, sometimes more, sometimes less. I'd say, like, you know, within the 250 to 300 range is probably a lighter week. It's usually a little bit more than that.
What was that? What was that one DC week? Remember, it was like massive. It was like 3 weeks almost, or something like that.
Yeah, I don't remember, but yeah, there's some weeks that are just like crazy, and you're like, I hope all these books don't come out on the same day, because that's a really expensive new comic book day. But John, is the FOC list is it going to follow the same format as like our convention lists?
Yes. So this is just the current one we have, but it's going to actually follow the same look and feel of the convention list.
Yeah, people are familiar with how our convention list works and like the filters and stuff on that. It'll be similar to that with how you can filter by publisher and things like that. So
I'll show you that list just so you guys can see it. And again, we'll walk through it in more detail. But basically, as you guys know, we put out these lists for all the major conventions. And again, thank you to Hannah and Jen here and the team, because they do all the hard work of tracking these things down. Hannah was walking around C2E2 with her laptop out whenever something dropped, and she was like, I'm like, Hannah. But this is basically the list, the way it's going to look, and it's just going to showcase all of the FOCs for that week. And again, you're going to be able to order it. You're going to be able to add it to your collection wish list, find it in our marketplace, go to the price guide for it, all of that kind of stuff.
It's nice because, okay, so before I started working for a retailer or for CovrPrice, I had to go to Lunar Distribution. As if you just go to that site, it just pops you out into like their FOC. There's like some previews there, but that's only for stuff that Lunar carries. And then you have to go to Previews World for everything else, and then sometimes Penguin. So like as a person with no access, you're like, okay, I have to go to like 3 different sites to try to figure out like what I want, and then go to your store. But this is awesome because it's a one-stop shop.
Well, that's an interesting thing. Like that's why this thing is useful, is just because it is really cumbersome to try to go around and figure stuff out. Jen, what's been your experience? You're just kind of getting into it, but like, what if without something like this, or even some of the other CovrPrice tools, like Previews World, right, was like the only way to kind of see stuff, but then a lot of stuff isn't there, or?
Yeah, so Previews World, I would get, okay, as a consumer and a collector, like they never showed ratios. And so a few times I would hear about ratios and I'm like, where are these people getting these images from? I can't find where they're coming from. And then I go to my LCS and I'm like, I guess I'll pre-buy the one for 25. And they're like, are you sure? I'm like, well, I like the artist. Is there an image? And like, no, there's no image. I'm like, okay. And then you prepay for it, and then you get it. And you're like, oh, I don't really like it, but I have to buy it. So like, it seemed, I was like, I don't understand where people are going for this information. And then covers do change, or they don't have the right image, or you're like, hey, that's a double image. Like, what's going on? And I just remember being sometimes frustrated, and I was like, so now that I, all this other stuff, I was like, oh, this is amazing. And like, plus
the FOC list that's on. So, I mean, Preview still does that, and they still don't show ratios, but also a lot of their information is just wrong now. A lot of people know that Diamond is going through a bankruptcy, so this probably has something to do with it. But I've noticed that, especially with like with Image Comics, who they're supposed to be exclusive with Lunar, who's the other distribution company. So there's 3 distribution companies: Lunar, Penguin Random House, and Diamond. Diamond doesn't really have many people left that it distributes for, because they've all left, hence the bankruptcy. But now the FOC list that they provide will have a lot of image comic books that, if you look at Lunar, who is the official distributor, they're like a month out. And it's so bad that our LCS used to send out the previous PDF FOC list, but they're like, there's so many inaccuracies on this that we made a custom spreadsheet for their members, who regularly order from FOC. They took the time to make a custom FOC spreadsheet because the previews one was so inaccurate they couldn't use it. So for a small LCS to spend that kind of time, that's it's like, it's not good.
See, that's what always
ours is going to be better.
Yeah, well, that's always confused me because like when we built the retailer tool and stuff, we talked to a lot of retailers. We're like, well, what's your biggest bane of your existence? And we're like, I get stuff from Diamond, I get stuff from Lunar, I get stuff from Penguin. I have to put it all together. I find independent stuff, and then I put it together. Then I got to put it into my shop. And I was like, well, there's not a single unified kind of place to do that. And like to your point, like, and then like everyone wants to get it on their website as soon as possible, as soon as like the initials kind of drop. But then, like you said, it's so volatile. It's changing all the time. It's the images are wrong. The release date is wrong. So yeah, it's nice that your team does the work to kind of clean all that up. And it's just manual labor, basically, right? It's just you guys like tracking it down and updating it. Mm-hmm. It just takes a lot of it. There's like 500 items. It takes a long time.
Right. Yeah, and too, like my LCS is pretty small. So they actually didn't even start taking FOC orders until, I don't know, maybe like a year or two ago. So like I actually didn't even really know about like FOC until I started working for CovrPrice, because even then like my LCS still wasn't doing it. And like the other resources that I used to learn about like new releases also didn't really talk about FOC. So I think it just kind of depends on what resources you use for comic book collecting and whether or not FOC is even like, front facing. But so if you're somebody who goes to a small LCS and you've never even heard them talk about FOC, it would be good to just ask them, like, like you might know that a book is on FOC, but your LCS isn't trying to like even get FOC pre-orders. You could still ask them and say, hey, if I request these things, at FOC, will I be able, will you order them for me so that I know that I can have them, come new comic book day, and then there's not as much pressure to have to make sure that you're first in line or, being the first one to request it or that kind of thing.
Yeah, I know from Jen Fay, from your perspective, I know like working at a retailer, like the hardest thing about being a retailer, maybe not, maybe this is just me guessing, but the hardest thing I think would be like trying to anticipate what your customers are going to want and overbuying and then not selling them out and then just having to put them in your back bins and stuff like that. Like, how big of an issue is that for different stores that you've talked to?
Well, I'm sorry, I'm getting over a cold.
No, I'm sorry.
It's definitely an issue that I think a lot of retailers go through. Like I was kind of caught off guard. This FOC for that exquisite corpses, because there was like some buzz around initial orders, but seeing it balloon, like now that I have 2 jobs in comics, like being able to see and be like, wow, like there actually is really a big like pre-buying FOC thing going on for this title that I think maybe the average retailer is probably missing out on, because they're not seeing it from these like 2 job perspectives. But I'm also sure that like a lot of stores, someone said earlier in the chat about like people getting calls like, hey, do you have, and it's like, no, like I've been at stores when that has happened, like a book is blowing up and it's like you're the first person in the door and then you get the book and then you just hear them getting calls like as you're looking through their back issues or something. So this will be very helpful. Like,
I mean, it helps the retailer, right? When you think about it, if you don't have to buy the inventory and store it, if you get a pre-order because of FOC from people who want to buy it and have committed to buy it, like it, imagine you can like get 100 pre-orders and then you go, okay, well, I'll buy another 20 on top of that for people who just walk in. Like win-win, everybody, it's good. It's good news for everybody,
Also gives you like a leg up on, oh, like the 6 corpses is already blowing up. Okay, let me even go maybe a little bit heavier than I would, because it's going to be like maybe like late to the show for people who don't know about FOC.
Yeah. One thing I talked about at the I just went to my retailer. I was talking to him about FOCs because I knew we were going to talk about this last week. And I asked him, like, how big of an issue is it that people put stuff in their pull list and don't pick it up? And he just was like, he rolled his eyes. He was like, it's the freaking worst. Because, like, people promise to buy it and then people just don't show up and they have like thousands of dollars of inventory or comics that they just can't move. And it just keeps happening. So, like, just as a public service announcement, if you put something in your pull list or if you pre-order something, have the courtesy to either take yourself off of it or buy the books. Buy the books you asked to, because they put them on the front, and it supports.
When we were talking to Matt about FOC, last week, he was mentioning that one of the things that likely contributed to Diamond's bankruptcy is this, cycle of people pre-ordering a lot of books and then not picking them up. And he said I don't know if it's still the practice now, but at least it used to be people would, be specking on a book. They'd pre-order a ton, with their LCS, so their LCS would order it, but then the book wouldn't get hot like they thought, so they just wouldn't go pick it up and buy it. So now the LCS is sitting on a bunch of stock that they can't sell, so they don't pay Diamond, and then Diamond doesn't have the money to pay, the publisher, and then, so it's just like this. It's
a vicious
kind of like
push it back.
Well, Diamond used to give credit too. Like, Diamond gave credit to stores to, like, hey, we understand, like, you'll have the money eventually, right? Like, you'll sell the books, you'll give it back to us. So, like, I forgot what they would call it. There's a special word for it. It was like a credit for the store, then you have to pay back later. And then the stores, like Hannah was saying, people don't pick it up. But like, that's something that Diamond did that I hear in, like, the retailer chats, that they were very grateful for this because it saved a lot of stores. A lot of stores couldn't foot that bill, but then they're able to keep going and have been going for years now. But I don't understand why. I don't know. Like, my local, as a kid, I would go to this store. Would just have you would put a credit card on file, like, eventually when you're an adult, and you could have a pool list, right? To have a pool list when you find out about this stuff, like, you put a credit card down and then they would charge you and then you have to pick it up later.
That makes sense. It's like a bar tab.
Yeah. My old shop, Bedrock in Houston, that's what they did. Whenever you opened up a box, you had to put your credit card on file, and if you didn't pick it up in a month, they just charge you your box and you had to come pick it up.
100. Yeah, I mean, like, that would make sense. That would make perfect sense. Like, and then you wouldn't have slippage. Then you wouldn't have, the whole thing. I remember I went to the Diamond Retailer Summit at, I think, SDCC a few years ago, and I was just kind of like going, okay, what do retailers deal with, right? And you go there and you see all and then we went to Comics Pro, the retailer big convention this year, or was it 2024? Anyway, and it was interesting because the things that matter to retailers is very different from things that matter to fans. Like, fans are like, oh, the Energon universe, oh my God, you're going to put Shockwave in there, oh, and it's like content. And then the retailers, like, they were just like, they would have, like, the different publishers get up there and they kind of did their pitch, and they were like, okay, this year we're going to introduce so-and-so. And everyone was like, yeah. And then the biggest noise was when I forget who it was, one of the publishers was like, and we'll buy back any book you don't sell. Like, there was this whole thing, and everyone lost their mind. They were just like, yeah, and it just makes you realize, like, it's a business. It's volume based, it's moving stuff through your shop.
Yeah.
But it's important. I mean, that's what the lifeblood of the comic book industry is like, support your LCS, but, put a credit card on file, buy the comics. Otherwise, they literally are just eating that inventory. So whenever you see those incentives change, I think it's kind of cool. I know Rudy had a question real quick, a little bit off what we were talking about, but just to get back to it, question for the panel: how long before the industry is going to do another price increase in order to help recover from this current dilemma? I'm assuming the dilemma being just the economy or
tariffs.
Yeah.
I thought, and Jen, Hannah, correct me if I'm wrong, I thought I saw some more where they're saying that the comic books shouldn't be affected per se because books are protected. However, I know that stuff that goes in that's involved with such comic book making, i.e. ink and paper, can be infected. I say wait till the end of this year and see what happens.
Well, bags already have tariffs. Like BCW sent out an email letting retailers know, or people who are buying from them, hey, it's like a 38% tariff on bags, like right now. So bags prices are already going up. I don't think I started doing some research into this about bags. I don't think there's any bag that is made in the United States.
No.
I think it's Canada and China are the two.
Yeah.
Boards, I think there's some sort of like 1 or 2 places in America that have boards, but then the rest are also abroad. So when it comes to your
CovrPrice side hustle, we're gonna smuggle bags from Canada. We're gonna get Lando and Lefteros to help us out. We'll make it happen.
Corner the market.
Maybe some maple syrup too. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Well, I think I heard that the regular Spawn series is going to go up $1. Like for the longest time, it's always been $2.99. I think going to be going up to $3.99. Still going to be the cheapest book on the shelf. But
yeah, I mean, still I mean, a comic book now is what, like $5.99, $5.50. I mean,
$1.
It is kind of crazy. Like when you go to the shop and I'm like, oh my God, $70. Like I didn't. What did I pick up?
And I always get the nice cardstock covers like the DC ones. Those are always $1 more.
Yeah. Those darn shiny covers.
Yeah.
But
I don't know.
It's interesting to see like the cheap bins. Like the cheap bins, like when I was a kid, it was $0.25. And then I remember for the longest time it's been $1, and now it's like $2 to $3. So.
Yeah. So right now, normal like X Factor is $3.99, and Ultimate Wolverine, because it's Ultimate, is $4.99.
Okay. I mean, that's not too crazy, but yeah, I mean, if they keep going up, it's going to get more difficult, I guess. But I understand, like, if there's costs and stuff associated with it, everything costs more. The margin on a retail shop. One thing people were excited about with Alliance taking over or buying Diamond was because they were going to bring in more merchandise opportunities for shops. And I thought it was interesting because right now a lot of shops that I've seen, I don't know about you guys, they all have a gaming section in the back. They all have cards and D&D and card play kind of battles and stuff. So it'd be interesting to see like how it is comic books going to be then relegated to like one part of the shop that's going to be like, this is comic books and here's manga and here's your your cards and stuff, or is it always going to be a comic book shop with fluff?
Well, didn't the downturn was 2008 was like the last biggest downturn for comics?
Yeah,
like
I think so.
And I think people just when the prices hit, I think people tend to just like, what do I really want to read, right? Like you're saying, like $70 when you went, and then so it's to the point where it's like, okay, what 3 to 5 titles do I really want to keep reading? And then I forgot what title it was that for a while it was like every week instead of like once a month. Was that Superman?
Yes.
So it's
yes, it was.
Like you just have to pick and choose, and then will we see more trades? People just waiting to see it, like
Yeah, I mean, I kind of wait for trades. I just bought my Something's Killing the Children. I just got my Invincible Universe compendium one, like all that stuff. So yeah. I mean,
I want to know how many more giant size comics are going to be coming out, and whether or not we're going to see short and long boxes that can fit 13 by 17 inch size comics.
You just turn them sideways.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
A legal size filing cabinet.
I saw that at the comic shop, and I looked at it. I'm like, oh, come on, that's ridiculous. And I opened it up. I'm like, okay, it's actually kind of cool. I was like, that's kind of neat. It's like a big art book.
Yeah, they're doing like the whole Hush 2 run, and then I just saw they're going to be doing like the one of the Superman specials. They're going to be doing like artist editions, so it's like it's going to have like the raw art in it. And then just with like some extra unreleased artwork. But they said it was going to be artboard size. And when I looked that up, it looked like it was going to be the same as the like the giant size Batmans that they're doing. So more giant comics to come.
Is it a gimmicky thing? Is it? I mean, because you can't.
Yeah. I like the mini ones because they're adorable and they're also easy to store.
So cute. I'm gonna channel Matt here. I'll try to. I can't do his voice because I won't even try. I have to go like an octave lower. But yeah, like Rudy's saying, like as a kid you could afford the books, but now that you have to process everything, pick them up and all that stuff. But comics is one of the only hobbies in the world where if you do it right, you never have to pay for a comic book once you get into it, right? You just keep buying a comic book, buying 2 of them, selling the right one. And that's the game of comics, right? Is potentially you can, it's like the red paperclip trade thing or whatever. Or trade a paperclip and you keep doing it, all of a sudden you have a car. Like with comics, like I know my next move is, well, I'm thinking about it, is selling all my stuff and trying to get into some Silver Age stuff, selling all my moderns and doing stuff that I've never read and I bought in the 90s that isn't doing anything. Like, yes, it's nostalgic, but it'd be really cool to be able to get into some of these more blue chip type stuff. It's scary.
Yeah.
but it's interesting, right? I mean, like maybe that's the point of comics. One of the benefits is that you can trade up.
Yeah. I mean, that's the hope, right? That the moment that you figure out, like, wait, the hobby can fund itself. I don't have to keep spending my own money. Like,
what are FOCs? No.
Yeah, I've thought about doing that, John. Or because it's some of my comic books because I've traded them in for older issues and then get them graded because I like my books being graded and looking nice.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, I had them on the wall, but I thought about doing that for my action figures. Like I have at my parents' garage right now, which I need to do something with. 15 27-gallon tubs full of in-box figures and oh yeah. And I was like, my wife's like, sell them and we can buy a house, which we could actually put a down payment on a house. But I'm like, or just go higher quality toys. I don't know. Little A, little B. We'll see.
It's I always think you got to rotate them. You got to rotate. Like I'll rotate these. I'll rotate some of the other stuff in here, just because everything else is in my storage. And I'm like, and then it's nice when I get to pull out the bust that I haven't seen in about a year or so. But,
yes.
But then there's always going to be more. You're always going to be. Yeah. Sounds like my storage unit. When we first started CovrPrice, we put out a survey and we said, what could we do if we could do anything for you comic collectors? What would it be? And everyone's like, give me more storage space. I was like, shoot.
I wish.
We don't have that ability right now.
Well, if you can get these platforms for your bed to raise the profile to fit comic boxes underneath.
Smart.
How high?
So I had to buy pretty chunky ones in order to raise it because that's what
I just need a loft bed so I can.
the beach, people rolling off the ceiling, like, oh, there we go.
Michigan girl killed by comics in earthquake. Died doing what she loved. Yeah, those boxes were heavy. I remember trying to get a long box up into the upper shelving, and I'm just like, as a teenager, I was like, no, I got to work out more.
No more long boxes for me. Only short. Moving with my collection was a pain.
Yeah, Bobby just moved and I can imagine.
Oh my God.
You have to have a U-Haul just for your collection?
I actually two.
Yeah.
I had to move it twice to my parents' place. And my parents it was two 10-footers.
Jesus.
Yeah.
You can always start selling.
I know. My parents are already going, it'd be a good idea. I'm like, I know.
Well, the worst thing about having your comics at your parents' house when I was younger was my sister and brother would always threaten to mess with my comics if they were mad at me. And I wasn't living there. And I'm like, get away from the comics. What's wrong with you people? Isn't nothing sacred? What are you doing? So then I buried them in my backyard, and now they're safe. Now they're forever combined. Yeah. Anyone listening, do you guys have any questions about FOC or new releases or anything like that? I know I saw Lefteros. We gave you a shout out earlier, actually, before you jumped on.
We did.
I think you mentioned something earlier. But yeah, if you guys have any questions about FOCs or anything that we missed, just ask the questions again. We are going to do a giveaway at the end of this for some more merch, and eventually we're going to be coming back to giving away comics. But before we do, I don't know if any of you saw on CovrPrice. Let me pull it up real quick. This amazing giveaway that we're doing. So we are partnering with CGC. So when we went to C2E2, we went around and picked up all the comic books for our big giveaway with eBay. And as we were doing that, we're like, wouldn't it be cool if we were able to get these same day graded? So it'd be like the first out there for anybody. We are going to give away some comics. So if you go to the website and click here in the banner, I think, Bobby, you sent out an email today as well. We're giving away the JTC Mary Jane cover, the Marvel Rivals set, the JTC Venom, and the Frizzen Absolute Wonder Woman. And these are really sought after. They're all graded in our hands, 9.8. The whole set, I think this whole thing is worth about over $1,000. Although some of these aren't great slabbed, aren't even on the aftermarket yet because they're not there. So if you are interested, please go to the site and click on here and then sign up. We're using Gleam, so you can do a bunch of different things to get in the entry, to do entries for that. The cool thing is, here, I'll zoom in. Whoa. The cool thing is next week, we are going to have Matt Nelson, the president of CGC, on this very little podcast, YouTube show, Comics Covered, to talk about grading and how we got into the grading comics, how he became president of CGC, answering any questions you guys might have for him about CGC and their process and stuff like that. But they were really nice enough to do these gradings for free. Oh, and next week, sorry, we're totally tangent. They're going to give away 2 premium memberships to CGC worth about $150 each. So we'll give away those live on the show as well. But so stay tuned for that. It's going to be pretty cool. Do any of you guys have these? You guys were all at the con except Bobby. Did you guys Hannah, we picked this up, right? Some of these?
Yes, I got all of them except the Marvel Rivals set. By the time I got to Trinity's table, they were sold out of the Virgin. So we just decided to pass because we were running out of money anyway. So
what about you, Jen? Did you pick any of these up?
I got the left half, the Rivals and the JTC, but so I had a budget, and so this is why I blame myself for the budget. But instead of the Venom, I got the Daredevil one. I was like, ooh, which one? Daredevil one. Oh, okay, I'll get Daredevil.
Was that the second print or was it the same?
I need to open it up. I feel like it's a second print.
I opened it up. It does not say second print in the indicia. So.
Aw, thanks, Rudy.
Okay.
Yes, if you act now, you'll be entertained by us. I think it's the second print because I know they sold out at New York.
They sold out in New York.
And I saw that too, and I got that one because I was like, oh, I love the cover.
Well, he sold out of everything that he brought to New York because he dropped more on his website after. So he saved some inventory to drop later.
Yeah.
So did he save even more inventory? I don't know. So,
because we don't have a print count for that, right?
No.
I would guess
well, I thought it was like he usually does like 3,000 or so, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But one of these days we'll open up the comics that we bought and we'll we'll take a look to see. But yeah, no, I got that one, and I missed out on the Frizzen Absolute Wonder Woman one, and we were right there too, and we were talking to Jenny, and I don't know why I didn't buy it, but whatever.
I wanted those JTC covers so badly.
Which one do you want more?
Coin toss, really.
Yeah.
I mean, that Venom's amazing, but that Mary Jane, I'd probably go with the Venom and just put it with my Venom.
The Mary Jane up close is so nice. Like the artwork, he did such a good job on that cover.
I know.
It's yeah.
I think I keep leaning towards that Mary Jane because, like John said, like I've been working on like the FOC. I was on FOC day after. So Brian kept using it. He's like, "Oh, use like." I'm like, "All right, fine. This is great."
Yeah, we're priming you. We're making you
exactly.
Read it. I think JTC is going to start doing this. I mean, this took off so well, and it's been sold out. I think at C2E2. I think he's now the texture guy. He was negative space guy.
It's
now
a very unique style. It's pretty cool.
Well, also before he even dropped the Venom, he did the like the design, like the pattern, and he like, guess what I'm doing? Everyone's like, we have no idea, and then just like throwing out ideas, like who is it? Who is it? This is it? This?
Oh wow!
I think it's great marketing for him. He's like, who am I doing now? It's like, you got lines, man. I don't know. I just know I'm gonna buy it.
Yeah.
Oh, JD. Does JD know?
What's that?
In the comments, he said he told me it takes so long to do those, like the Venom and the Daredevil.
Yeah, well, he was saying that he did the Venom, and he didn't like, because on the background it's the Venom symbol is what the texture is, which by the way, I can never see it. Even on the real one, I can't see it.
It's
He's like, "Oh, yeah, it should be." I'm like, it's not there. He said he had to redo the whole thing because he did it once, and on the teeth part, he didn't like how the texture made the teeth look, so he had to redo the whole thing.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh, there
And
you
he
go.
still only sold it for $30 a book.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Crazy.
Yeah. One of the nicest guys. By the way, guys, I just put in the chat the link to our giveaway, which is live now. Be sure to enter. Don't sleep on this one. Do yourself a favor, get in there. Oh God, okay, we already got 13,000 entries, so that's good. But if you do this, I think you can get like 30 entries by doing this part. But yeah, anyway, so that's kind of that whole thing. And again, next week, like I said, be sure to tune in to hear what Matt Nelson has to say about CGC, and you guys get to ask him any questions. You guys are the comic book community. You guys are the fans. You have questions for CGC. You have the president coming here to chat about it, so that's fun.
Oh, can you also ask him if he's going to keep doing on-site grading?
Oh, that's right. You're saying, well, they were saying at C2E2 that they won't do it at bigger cons because they don't have the bandwidth. But C2E2, I think, was one of their first ventures back for a long time. And it was awesome. I mean, there's nothing like going and getting it same day, and you don't even have to do the shipping stuff. There's a cost to it. I think it's like $10, $15 more or so. But like, you skip out on shipping. You don't have to worry about that, your precious cargo leaving and going someplace else.
Mm-hmm.
How was it on the plane ride home, though?
I don't want to talk about it. No, you just hold it like a baby, and you buy a seat for it.
All 20 of them, John?
Yeah, it was a big plane. Man, yeah, it was hard. But yeah, all of our backpacks are just like these massive things, and people are like, "Oh, you have like pillows and stuff." Like, no, just comics. Just. But yeah. So let's see. Anything else about Final Order Cutoff that we should chat about?
I liked Left Rose's comment about that FOC is the new comic book day.
Yeah.
Yeah. It really is. It's like if you're a fan of comics, that's the earliest you're going to see it come out.
Yeah.
So get on it.
Yeah, because by the time the new comic book day comes, either it's not there or it's sold out and you missed out.
Yeah. And especially with like this economy, like retailers have to be really conservative. Like even our LCS that they're going to be cutting back even more, being a lot more conservative. So it's like if you don't order it on FOC, you might not get it unless you just like buy cover A's, you'll probably be fine. But even then, if it's a title that not a lot of people read, like our LCS doesn't order very heavy on like Venom and Carnage books because just for whatever reason, like their customer base aren't heavy like Venom readers, so you might only get a really small handful even of like a cover A. So
that's a really good point. Yeah, with the economy, and that came up in the chat a little bit, like just the prices of stuff. Like, yeah, with the difficulty of economies, the retailers are going to do everything they can to make sure that their margins are as big as they can without any leakage or slippage or whatever. So yeah, you're absolutely right. You might not get the comics that you want.
They can't risk like over ordering. They need to know. So if they know for sure that you want it, that you're going to buy it and all that, then you're way more likely to be able to get it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Real quick, we're about 10 more minutes or so. We are going to give away another cool CovrPrice shirt that has all these different colors, and you can go into the website. If you type in #merch into the comments right now, you will be eligible to win, and we will get this going. But also, Mick, you won last week. I don't think we heard from you. Be sure to, if you're watching this, reach out to John or Matt at CovrPrice.com, and get us your email address or your shipping address, and we'll get this shipped out to you. But yeah, so we'll do that in a little bit.
I would like the hoodie. The hoodie's the best.
They're comfortable, right? I mean, I know Hannah.
It's very comfortable.
Yeah, you're wearing it right now. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to. I know I need a shirt, but I might need a hoodie now because this weekend, Saturday, it snowed. We got 3 inches of snow, And then Sunday it was gone, and we went hiking. It's insane.
Is
Beautiful,
it
but insane.
full spring? Is that what it is?
I
Full,
don't-
you think it's going to be spring, and then it's
Oh, yeah.
cold. And
Yeah.
then,
That's probably more of a Midwest thing. I think that's completely foreign to them down there in Texas.
In California, I'm like, what is spring? What
Yeah,
is
seasons? What is this? What are you
what
talking
is
about?
this winter?
No, it was-
Winter, yeah.
Moving from Texas, like my wife's like, I need seasons again because we only had one season. It was hot. We had
wait,
like
where
a
are you?
week-
Now? Where are you now?
New Mexico.
Okay.
You won't, and you would think like, oh, it's going from hot to hot. No, it's stunning here. Like this is amazing.
Yeah. You said you live like 5 minutes from mountains and stuff, right?
Yeah, like literally. The Sandia Mountains. We are 5 minutes away. We can just drive right there. And we went on like a 1.5 mile hike the other day, and this morning I went to go stand up, and I just went straight back down. Like, nope.
Oh, really?
Oh, my hip flexors were like, yeah, we are resting. We're not doing it today.
I sit at a computer for work. I don't need to stand ever.
Why are you using us?
There was one interesting thing in chat that I think popped up here, just to call it out. So Rook Peace said Mark Spears was upset that his con exclusive wasn't sold at the con, but at a hotel room. Curious what you guys think about that.
Which one?
Yeah.
Something with monsters.
I did see one at C2E2. If you're referring specifically to C2E2, there was the one with the witch. It wasn't a virgin cover. It had a trade dress. I did see that on somebody's on their rack. But I didn't watch any like of the live streams or anything for the convention. I know he had another one that was like only available in a mystery pack. A couple in the top shelf mystery packs.
That's
the only ones that
interesting thing though. Like, I don't know. What do you guys think of like? I know we've been dealing with this a lot with the convention lists and stuff. Like comics that come out at a convention but aren't featured in the convention, but come out because of the convention, and we get people reaching out and saying, put my comic on your list because it's coming out. We're like, but it's not at the con.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about that? Is that like with Whatnot and like all the packs and the blind tags and stuff like that? Are they convention exclusives or are they not?
Yeah, personally, like for me, I am not a fan of calling your online exclusive a convention exclusive. But what's more frustrating to me is retailers selling like half of their run before the convention even starts.
Yeah.
And especially with like, what happened with New York Comic Con with the Absolute Batman Akira homage, and because of, I'm guessing, like pre-sales, and then just like retailers being able to get in, earlier than everybody else, it was sold out before any customer walked through the door.
Yeah.
And even though we went to C2E2, I still found myself feeling like maybe I should pre-order the exclusives online, because I'm worried that even if I get in and go straight to the retailer that I want, that the book I want will already be sold out. Because that's just like kind of becoming the reality, and I don't like that feeling. And even like there was a metal cover that I was interested in. It was only limited to 10, but I went and I asked the guy, and he was like, "Oh yeah, those sold out in like 5 minutes online before the convention." I was like, "You sold all of them before the convention?"
Yeah.
It was only 10.
That's ridiculous.
What do you think, Bobby? What are your thoughts on?
I'm kind of with Hannah. On that one. I'm with Derek. If I was Mark Spears, I'd be annoyed too. Like if I'm doing an exclusive for a con, I want it at the con. Like if I'm doing a book, and I'm like, okay, this is a con exclusive, and it never makes it to the con, I'm like, and this is the problem where like we were talking earlier, it's a business. But I'm of two minds because there's the business side, but there's also the fan side. You want your fan side should be like happy and like, oh, I'm going to a con for this. And like Hannah said, if I go to the con for, like, I got lucky, I got the last Mark Brooks Absolute Batman he did, right? He had signed it and everything. Got the last gray tone. But if I'd gone to the con for that and it wasn't there, it was already sold out, I'd be really, really upset.
Yeah.
You know, same with that Edgar Rogue. Like I got one, but I didn't get the one that you got. I was like, oh, I still got it. I'm like, I still got the cover. I just didn't get that '80s Miami Vice one, which was really cool. But if I'm gonna have a book at the con, like I get retail, but it's annoying. I'd be annoyed. And as a fan, I'd be annoyed if the book isn't there. Like, oh, it's sold out like that. Like, well, who got it? Did any? Oh no, retailers.
I like Derek.
Yeah.
You don't think you can sell 10 comic exclusives at a con? You have no faith in yourself.
I mean, right?
Right. What about you, Jen? What do you think?
I feel like the old way before COVID was they had exclusives at the convention. If they didn't sell all of them by the last day, usually other dealers would then go in and try to buy some, and then on that Monday, they would list them online, right? That was the old school way of doing it, right? And I feel like because of a lot of different things and have popped up, technology and whatnot, I feel like since then, you have seen, because of COVID, people wanted to do stuff online and like, hey, we're still trying to buy stuff and do stuff. And the amount of stuff that like, is pre-sold, I agree with them, with everybody, I guess, about if it's a con exclusive, it has to be at the con, like physically, right? And then I really like it when retailers and artists know that it's going to be a good book, and they go, you know what, I'm going to allocate it per day. If I have 3,000 or whatever, I'm going to do 1,000 each day, and that way, someone who comes on only, because a lot of people can't afford the weekend ticket. Right? Like the prices for a whole 3 days of a con have gone up exponentially. So now people do have to pick and choose. Because before, I used to work for a convention, and seeing the 3-day ticket be the number one ticket people bought. And then as prices started going up, it started going down. And then like Saturday started going up. And then, like Saturday is the big day.
Yeah.
And so let's say you want to get deals, go on a Sunday, because a lot of retailers will give deals because they don't bring it home with them. Then like if you don't go, then you miss out. Like, so I really, really like it when they do that. I understand that retailers like to do the pre-order to maybe get an idea how well it'll do. But I like the old school way of, I believe in this cover, let me do per day. And then if it doesn't sell, I'll talk to another dealer, or I'll sell it on eBay on Monday. Like, just seems the more fair way of doing things. But I mean, I don't think it's ever gonna change now that it's gone there. That makes sense.
You briefly mentioned COVID, and that, you know, COVID changed a lot of things. I think that's definitely one of them, is just normalizing selling online, or selling convention exclusives online, because they did like the convention at home, you know, they did a lot of that through like 2020, since people just couldn't go to conventions. It's now that just kind of like stuck, you know. And then you know, Whatnot did like a Whatnot Con, which is just like a special weekend on Whatnot where everybody's selling exclusives kind of thing. You know, so it's just like but yeah, I don't know, it's just not as special. It's not the same.
I completely agree with everything you guys are saying. Like, yeah, it's you go to a con to get the exclusives and to, you know, see people and get things signed and talk to people. It kind of kills it. Like even the 1 day stuff, which I appreciate. I'm glad they partition it out. I get there, like, you know, as soon as they open and they're already sold out, I'm like, oh, but how? And you
okay, so I will say the amount of deals that go down on Thursday, astounding. I remember my first day helping a vendor load in, and as we're trying to like set up his table, people are just popping off the tops. And I was like, oh, we're not open yet. We're still setting up. And then the guy's like, oh no, they're the dealers, don't worry. And I was like, what? And people started buying. So by the time we were done setting up, a guy already had a long box of comics, and I was just supposed to help load in so I could also dig. So I was like, how did he already pull a long box? And he's like, oh, it's just, you'll get used to it. Dealers sell to other dealers, and then they will flip those books and da-da-da-da-da. And then I know that we all know about things that have happened at cons for public, some acetate stuff from, you know. So in the olden time, the deals were done like pre-con, so Thursday. There's no public around, right? So that's when the deals were done, or it's before or after the con. It was never done in front of the customer. I feel like lately it's been in front of the customer, and then people are like, wait, how come it's limited 2 per customer, but that person just walked away with 30? And you're like, ooh.
Deals. So you know. Yeah, wherever there's money, there's always going to be side hustles and weird things. I know, and you're right. I think, but that same thing. I saw this documentary on like sneakerheads, like sneakers and stuff. And you walk in. If you're going to rob anybody, go to one of these things. They all walk around with wads of cash, and it's all under the table, and it's all like just little deals that they have to get their thing. I'm not advocating robbing anybody, obviously, but if you were going to,
but if you had to,
leave the comic book people alone because we pay with credit cards.
John at CovrPrice told me that I needed to.
So, all right, let's jump into our giveaway. If you haven't already, hashtag merch is the thing to type into the thing. And as I said, we are giving away some of these cool shirts. Whoever wins can choose whatever color they want. You just click in, you go to, let's say, the athletic heather, or just classic white CovrPrice. White shirt, black logo. You can choose the logos, red, white, black, red, and cyan. My personal favorite, which I think Hannah was wearing at C2E2, was this one, right? You're wearing that one, I think. The berry.
I do have that one, yeah.
I was like, who's gonna get that? And I was like, oh, it actually looks pretty good. All right, so let's do it. Let's merch it up. Don't forget to sign in and go to CovrPrice and click on our C2E2 giveaway, all graded from CGC. And where am I going? Nope. There we go. All right, here we go. 22 entries, and the winner is. We always joke we need a drum roll, but it's just this awkward silence.
Reality. Turn. Teach us the lesson that we should.
Gregory Piscopus, if I said that right. I'm going to take a screenshot of that. Gregory, reach out to me, John at CovrPrice.com. Give me your shipping address, and we will. And tell me, go to the site, the merch shop, which you can see everywhere in the content section on CovrPrice. Go there, tell me your size, the color, the logo that you want, and we'll make it happen for you. All right, congrats, Gregory. I love the channel. The channel is always so nice to everybody.
Right.
But not next week when we start giving away CGC premiums. Everyone's gonna be mad.
When everybody has a chance to grill the president of CGC.
Yeah. Ask all the questions.
And John, remind us when the first FOC list page is going to go live. Is that going to be for this next upcoming FOC on the 28th?
No, it's not. It's coming out this Wednesday or Thursday is when it's launching, and then moving forward, we're going to replace it. I think every Tuesday we're going to recycle or reset it. So you'll have 1 week of over 300 or whatever FOCs, and then on Saturday, Sunday we'll send out the full article with Lefteros's amazing picks and on the site, and so you'll be able to see the FOCs in advance. So. Come to the site, check it out. It's going to be cool. It's another cool little feature that we thought would be helpful for everybody. So that's why we're doing it.
And then a little asterisk, and to be mindful that between Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, stuff does happen. There are changes. I think it's 2:00 on Friday is when Lunar and Diamond, hey, this is the final FOC, is like Friday at 2:00. So,
yeah, we're going to have a little pending note. So when it goes out on Tuesday until Friday, it's going to have a pending, like this list is changing. And the cool thing is, I was talking to Jeff, he's going to update it every 4 hours. So as the data integrity team is making any changes, the site's going to update. So it'll be constantly updated until final order cutoff for the final order cutoff. And then Friday, there's going to be a little thing at the top that changes, and it's going to say finalized, and then you'll know it's locked in. So yeah, it's a work in progress. We'll get it going. We'll see.
Yeah.
What's that? Yeah.
I think it's been less than in the 4 years I've been working for a retailer. I want to say it's less than 10 times that there's been like Saturday things that have happened. Like
that's so ominous.
Yeah. Well, it's like a cover gets changed or a book gets like put up or like initial printing happens, and it's like usually everyone's scrambling on Saturday because it's like, what is this? Because it's but less than 10 times.
Yeah, so it happens, but obviously, I mean, this is the world of comics is so chaotic anyway. Like we're trying to bring order to chaos here. So I just see that Gregory asked, who do I contact? You contact me. See back here it says John at CovrPrice. Do John at CovrPrice.com. That's my email, and then give me your shirt size, the logo color you want, the shirt color that you want, shipping address. Say nice things about CovrPrice. That never hurts. And we'll get you a shirt. Any last words from you guys?
No.
It's so quiet.
You following us?
Yeah.
Fair. That's okay.
A lot more. I will say a lot of new cool stuff is coming. I know we've got. I know John, you talked about it earlier before. Like I think 3 weeks ago, but like the status tracker, I update it as like at least a few times a week. We've got new comic news coming out. We've got some interviews coming out soon. It's last, that's my last thing is I just keep coming to the site because there's a lot of stuff coming out soon. Yeah,
that's a good point. Always stuff is happening, especially on the content side. We did a bunch of interviews from C2E2. That's going to be probably launching this week. 28 articles a month is what the team's putting out, not to mention these shows and stuff like that. So there's a ton of stuff. If you're interested in comics, you're in the right spot. Hannah, Jen, any last word before we go?
Listen to Lefteros.
Lefteros is the way.
Yeah.
No pressure, Lefteros.
Pick up your books from your LCS. Check out FOC. I do look forward to seeing it on CovrPrice's like official. Like that's gonna be cool. What is it the G.I. Joe saying? The more you know.
Half the battle. Knowing is half the battle.
There you go.
Good point. All right. And everyone who is following along and chatting with us, thank you. You guys make the show fun and interesting. And we'll be back next week again with Matt Nelson, president of CGC, for a nice long interview, answer any questions you guys have, and for some more giveaways. So remember, keep those comics covered